Good morning and hello. Um, Welcome everybody to the morning elevated connections. And today we're going to be working on our solar plexus, which is fantastic and such a important part of our. We were talking a little bit about our about our chakras last week, so we're kind of going through, and solar plexus is one that I am personally working on. So let's all do it together. So just a little bit about the solar plexus. Solar plexus is kind of that space. Let's see if we can, because we're going to be working on that area. So right here, that area, it's color wise, it's represented as a quite bright and vibrant yellow. And then so this area, when it's in balance, it's truly a space that we feel very connected, very that kind of sunny disposition. There's so many fascinating and amazing things that the human language takes into point when it's going through things like our solar or like our chakras, and we just use the vocabulary. So there's the ability to think of the solar plexus as a space, um, to really ask, who am I, and get clarity on that. It's an incredible kind of when it's in balance, it has the incredible ability to um, charge a person with loyalty, courage, and then of course when it's in balance, it can be a place of jealousy, and when we're very introverted, and remembering that extroverted and introverted are both beautiful. They both have their places, and we both do really carry them in different dynamics and different situations of our life. But in this particular way, it would be an introverted, um, going into an introverted space from a feeling of wanting to be small, from a feeling of opposite of wanting to shine our inner light. And so depression and melancholy and jealousy and deceitfulness kind of follow when this area is out of balance. So for today, we're just going to do a little bit of tuning into that area. We want to just again ask ourselves a few questions. So I find this time of, not only for myself but also with others, people that I work with as well, it's such a beautiful time to start on kind of really asking us some of those challenging questions. There's an interesting transition between summer and a lot of activity tends to be where we socialize a lot. The sun is out all the time, so our energy, again, this is where a big, very powerful energy source for ourselves. So that sun is out all the time, our energy is just naturally heightened. And then as we begin to transition into fall time, it's also fascinating to recognize and realize that there's some people that are drawn to the sun, that things will shift a little bit, and our personalities, we all have this in us in one degree or another. And so what we're going to be doing today is just enhancing that part and tuning in and asking ourselves questions that'll hopefully help to elevate it. So to begin with, we'll just wrap those hands. Get some really good heat here, so a little faster than even normal. And this time we're not bringing it onto our body, but what I want you to do, and again, wherever you're sitting, if you're sitting or even laying down, you're going to heat, and I want you to stretch those hands up and over top of yourselves, so you can connect the hands if you choose to. You can bring them out nice and wide. You can stretch the fingertips straight up towards the ceiling. And I want you to actually visualize expanding through that diaphragm, opening up through the belly button, and just reaching. Taking a couple of really deep belly breaths. And again, those belly breaths are going to help to open up and really anything that the lungs have been holding, or if we've been getting into that habit of creating a little bit of a concave posture in our day-to-day life. This really helps, and it's just a very gentle stretch and open and release and expansion. And if you feel comfortable with it, and this will help us for the rest of our kind of postures or process this morning. If you are laying down, or even if you do have a little bit of a pillow behind you, that can actually be quite lovely, because you can almost begin to create a little bit of a back arch. Very supported though, that's very important. Our bodies are just starting to wake up, just starting to warm up, so we want to make sure that we're not going into any kind of back bend that is too aggressive. So again, whether you're laying down or if you're choosing to sit, maybe just place a little pillow just directly into your lower back or even into your middle back, because we are going to be doing some movement in this area. Okay, one more time. Let's do that one more time. And again, finding out what feels right for you. But you are stretching, reaching, trying to visualize drawing those fingertips away from the body. If you want, you can point your toes away from the core main body, so you're just really extending. Breathing in any way that feels good to you. And this time, and just because I feel a little change up, this time I'm actually going to stretch up, but I'm going to create a little bit of an arch. So I don't know if you can quite see that, but I'm going to reach up, 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 and then ever so slightly go into a little bit of a back arch. Oh, that feels good. Okay, move out the shoulders, the chest. Welcome. That felt really good. Okay, so now that we're here, our bodies are starting to open a little bit. We're tuning into this space, that solar plexus space. The next stage is just going to be asking the very first question that is, I think, very relevant on a day-to-day basis is, sorry. That's so much better. Who am I? Who am I in this moment? Who am I right here this morning? And this is actually fascinating, how sometimes the piggyback effect happens from, teachings to teachings, but it's so true. Yesterday we were working on really noticing our day and just being very involved in it, and exploring it with new eyes, and really trying to bring emotion into our daily day-to-day activity. And even if there was the opportunity for any kind of conflict or things that were coming up that just really needed to be done, or maybe we were procrastinating, didn't want to get them done, yesterday was all about kind of shifting our perspective and really trying to bring a joy-like space or a joy-like heart into the activities that we're doing. And that was also a lot of solar plexus work that we were doing in that particular visualization. Solar plexus has the ability to just supercharge our days, and of course all of our personalities are so unique and so different. However, when we have that inner perspective, that inner mind, that inner communication, that it can be either a critic or it can be very supportive of who we are and what we're doing. That is again, that's to a certain point, that is our solar plexus working for us, or it's our solar plexus that's slightly out of balance. And and we're just going to kind of work through this space. We're going to allow ourselves to just kind of rub our tummy a little bit, and it's above the navel, so we're just kind of rubbing it, connecting to it. And actually, if it feels comfortable for you, I encourage you, and I'm just going to do a little stand up, I encourage you to grab hold of your rib cage, and I want you to really space your fingertips around the rib cage, and we're going to try to breathe into the rib cage a little bit, so I have more space. So as you place those hands around the rib cage, I want you to just take a few deep diaphragm breaths in whatever way feels right for you. Taking another breath, deep, deep, deep. And then on the next inhale, wherever you are, I'm going to get you to inhale and exhale with a quick breath. If you can, try to keep those hands still placed on the rib cage so you can really feel that expansion as you inhale and exhale here. And what we're doing here is we're inhaling in whatever way feels right, in whatever capacity, but the exhale is just really forcing, and you can actually feel, or hopefully feel, the fingertips as you exhale, those ribs kind of coming in, and the rib cage themselves. So fascinating, so amazing how it's able to really squeeze everything quite quickly. So our abdomen has that ability, our chest a little bit as well, but in a slightly different way. But we're really bringing our mind's eye, our focus point, into those rib cage area, or into that rib cage and the movement in the rib cage. So as you inhale, take the inhale, take the time for the inhale, and as you exhale, it's a and you're squeezing, you're drawing and feeling those ribs coming in. So 5 more times at your own pace here. Good. And then just kind of shake that off. Give your arms a little shake. Give your body, your head, give everything a little shake. So then finding those wonderful, amazing sit bones, make sure whatever platform or whatever surface that you're sitting on feels nice and supported. So again, if you are in a laying down position, you can still do this movement. I'm just going to give you a little bit of some simple modifications if you're choosing to lay down. If you're in a sitting position, whether your legs are crossed, whether you're like myself, I'm sitting in a chair, or your legs are out in front of you, again, find out what feels comfortable and good for your body in this moment, and then we'll work from there. From here, the whole goal of this one is to visualize thinking of expanding, extending, and it's almost this invisible line from our tailbone going up our spine, going out through the crown of the head, and it's just an ever so subtle, like, inch, maybe even half an inch, but half an inch to an inch or two, and it's just an extension. And it's really, it starts with the visualization, the physical body follows, and then the energetic body begins to tune itself into what we're doing. So again, we are grounded, our root structure. It's a little bit of a visualization, but it's also truth. Our root structure, whether we're laying down, our root structure is still in our sit bones and our glutes and our lower lumbar. Pretty much think of your tailbone as having roots and really solidifying you to your space from this very protective, very, very powerful area of our hip area. And then from there, it's like, I want you to visualize this shoot, or depending on what feels right for you, it can be the beginning of a plant beginning to kind of break through the surface. And this plant, for myself, I think charged. We are supercharging it, and we are visualizing this plant extending straight up our spine, going up, 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 up. And as it's going up, a typical plant, when it's healthy and strong and vibrant, is not going to go up and then sink back down. It creates its stalk, its structure, very, very solid. So then the leaves and the flowers and the produce, whatever is coming off of it, has the ability to survive and thrive. And the same kind of concept is the case here for this morning's work that we're doing. So again, root structure solid. If you're laying down, it's exactly the same visualization. You visualize that plant breaking out of its seed, of its dormant space in the tailbone, and it's shooting straight up the spine. And as it's going, it's elongating your actual physical spine. It's going all the way up, 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 and out through the top of the head. And once it gets to the top of the head right now, we're just going to allow it to kind of just bring tons of space. It's opening that space. It's creating that dynamic shift out through the top of the head. But as it's holding here, your entire spine should feel, and again, tune into it, should feel very tall, very extended, very strong. And be mindful, you still want to be breathing deep. Just because our spine and our body is nice and tall doesn't mean that our breathing goes short. And it is fascinating. I've worked with athletes pretty much my whole career, everything from triathlon to hockey to soccer, like all the sports, and a very common concept or a common piece that can happen for athletes without awareness is when they get focused, when they get into that strong go mode, um, a common piece that can happen is they start to hold their breath or they start to restrict their breath. And if we were to think of that on a body function dynamic, that's the opposite of reaching optimal health, optimal performance. So a big part of what I've always done with my breath work and what I've always taught my students and taught the people that I work with is, yes, you're focused, yes, you're strong, but your belly, your rib cage, your chest still has the ability to move and to create space, to create dynamic movement in lots of different directions while still keeping your center strong. So play with that concept, and also go into your day-to-day life. What occurs for me? How am I presenting myself? Yes, I'm a go-go, I'm a doer, but am I holding my breath? Am I shortening myself up from really thriving and really feeling the energy, the potential energy that I have throughout my day, um, just by being mindful of, yes, my body is strong, or yes, I am very dedicated, motivated in my day, but I'm always exhausted, or I'm always exhausted by a certain point in the day. Really take a good look at how and where you're breathing. If you're in a focused state, your breath should be even more enhanced. It should be even more expansive. You should be breathing more. And a lot of the time, I've noticed that the opposite can be true when we tune in. So, just something to be mindful. Once we get into that mindset, once we have tuned in, we've noticed how is our breathing, our spine is still nice and strong. And again, that visualization of the root structure and the plant working and shooting its way out through the and up the vertebrae, out and over top of the crown of the head. Now we want to visualize what's happening up here. So again, visualizations can really help us to tune into a lot of our bodies. And we've gone through that this week even. Physical, emotional, mental, even that spiritual body, whatever that means to you, has the ability of linking up and really connecting to each other. And then there's just such incredible magic that occurs. So when we come into this movement is meant to be exploratory. It's also meant to be a space that you can hopefully sit in if it's uncomfortable. And I'll explain more as we get into it. So again, I'm in a sitting down position. If you're sitting, that's great. But if you're in a laying down position, I will modify for you. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to slowly bring one hand up. Doesn't matter which side you start on, but I want you to start by extending and reaching. Now, naturally, when I go into this even dynamic, my whole body starts to change, shift, and move because I know where my side, I know where my areas of tension and tightness are, even though every day it changes. So I'm going to even remind myself, I want you just to bring that hand up quite casually, stretch it, and then I want you to kind of play a little bit with bringing those fingertips forward, bringing those fingertips up, maybe bringing them even back. And you can allow the head to follow that hand and just be so curious of where it wants to go. Or you can kind of allow that head to go in the opposite direction. The goal here is to just create an ever so gentle and subtle side bend with support. And so I'll explain how we're going to create a little bit more support. Even bring that arm up. A lot of us will feel it in our shoulders, our neck, our side body, into the ribs, even into that lower back. So we really want to clarify how a space of gentleness, and I'm probably going to say that several times because I know for a lot of people when they get into these things, into these postures, it gets uncomfortable, but depending on where your mindset is, you're either going to power through it, which I don't want you to do, or you're going to come right out of it, which again, I don't want you to do if you can help it. I want you to find this beautiful kind of comfortable space between the two where you have your resolve, you have that inner space of knowing beyond a shadow of a doubt, who am I? I am being strong and supple at the same time in this moment. And so as I begin to work into the side bend, I don't have to be scared that I'm hurting, My body knows, and I know that I'm working areas out that are really needing some space right now. So as I hold here, my other hand is just going to be placing down on this chair. Now it can be on the forearm, it can be kind of sitting, just so that I can begin to kind of work and begin to expand into my lower hip region as well. Quick crossover. If you're in a laying down position, you can still do this posture. You can still do this visualization. You're laying down. Same thing. I want you to bring your arm up over top of your head on the floor. And instead, I want you to really kind of shift almost your entire body into a shape, into kind of like a C shape. And that entire body has the opportunity for support. And as you're laying down on the floor, again, you can do this sitting up or laying down. I'm just giving two options here. As you're laying down on the floor and you're going into this gentle C shape, just really create what it feels like to push that arm into the floor behind you. Maybe bend the elbow a little bit and push and rotate your head on the floor. Get into that creative niche, even though you might be and choose to be in a laying down position, okay? So wherever you are, and again, we're just exploring here. We're beginning to feel how that side body is doing and really working for us. Rotate the arm, bend the elbow a little bit, straighten it again, but just don't come out of the posture quite yet. There can be so many different feelings and sensory stuff that's going on in the body. There can be heat, there can be cold. Go with it with such an open, curious mind, okay? Try not to allow any fear or allow any other emotions to kind of go through that. Wherever you are, taking a last deep breath in, this exploratory journey. And then inhale, on the exhale, slowly coming up and just rotating that arm out. And a lot of the time you'll feel, again, heat, cold, you'll feel all sorts of stuff. For my body this morning, it's definitely heating up. Just got out of the shower, so it's all the sensations, it's all the feelings. But again, I'm just going to kind of stretch, breathe. Reminder to self, reminder to you, breathe. And I'm just going to kind of just shake it out a little bit, readjust, allow my body to integrate what I've just done for it and done with it. Then I come back to, again, my center space. So as soon as you work one side of your body, you come back to your center space. Always important to kind of re-tune in. So you kind of just notice, okay, one side's been worked, the other side's going to feel different, or is it? Listen and talk to your body and see. Then when you're ready, we're going to switch to the other side. So again, when you're at the other side, double check. This visualization is super powerful, and the ability for it to really start to get the cerebral fluid going up and down your spine, which is really, really important for our vitality, is there. It's a powerhouse visualization and movement. However, we have to really be mindful of that solidity. So I'm just going to go through it again, this reminder and new teachings, if this is new teachings for you. You ground yourself to the tailbone. And again, even if you're in a laying down position, that tailbone is grounding you down onto the floor, the bed, wherever you choose to be in this moment. And then it's extending, and this visualization from the root structure, the seed, and then that seed is sprouting up the spine, and it's elongating the spine and going up, and the energy of it is going up and out through the crown of the head. Then we extend the other arm. So whichever side you haven't done, we're doing the other side. And you extend that arm and you stretch, 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 stretch up and over. Be mindful. So again, what we don't want to be doing, stretching that arm and then collapsing and doing. We want to keep that nice tall upper body, that nice strong spine. And then we begin to extend to the side ever so slightly. Don't go into discomfort, but then we begin to move and create. Co-create with the body. There's nothing that is wrong here. You can be going a little deeper, you can be going a little less. You can just be extending, that arm can be bent. These are all different dynamics. Head can be moving, upper body, even your upper body. So to clarify, even your upper body can move, but I'm not collapsing. So that's what we don't want. We want to continue to keep that nice tall spine. And again, we're supporting ourselves with myself. I'm using my elbow so I can really extend up and over and just play with this movement. How is it feeling? How's the side feeling? Noticing my head, noticing my side body. I'm going to kind of stretch and rotate. Remember, I'm not concaving here. I'm still keeping my spine, keeping that stock in the visualized plant nice and strong, but I'm rotating around the spine. And again, even I can tell for myself, I need to remind myself to breathe. And again, if you're in a laying down position, you can still keep doing, or you can still be an active part of this pose. You're just bringing yourself into a subtle C shape, and you're really being mindful of visualizing dropping that tailbone into the bed or into the floor, into the surface that you're laying down on. So it's still very doable while laying down. Wherever you are, again, this can start to feel a little uncomfortable. You're not going into pain, you're exploring that sense of feeling and staying in this posture. We have probably about another 2 or 3 breaths here. Last deep breath in wherever you are. And exhale, slowly coming up. And once again, really moving out that shoulder, maybe doing a little bit of spinal twist for that vertebrae, for that back. A few adjustments there. Again, always a beautiful and beneficial piece. And then as you come back to your center, we're just going to do a little bit of a subtle upper body cat-cow. So really focusing on the upper body, the chest, and then allowing the diaphragm, allowing the tummy to go quite relaxed. So as you do this one, it's just a subtle kind of, you can play with the breath actually. I want you just to kind of tune your own breathing into the movement, but you're going to round and you're going to tuck that chin in really, really tight and even hold it here for a few breaths if that feels right for you. And then as you exhale, you're exhaling, or sorry, as you're exploring your breath, you're just allowing that throat to open, maybe allow that head to rock side to side, and you're drawing those shoulders back, really allowing the chest, the tummy, the diaphragm to shine. So you're really opening up to that front body. Again, choose and kind of play around with your personal breath and what feels right for you. Tuck that chin in, round through the shoulders, round, 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 hold there and do little micro movements. Huge fan of micro movements. Our bodies really excel with that. And then as it feels comfortable, you do the opposite. So you allow the heart, you allow the solar plexus, you allow that front body to shine, open up through the throat if that feels comfortable. Remember, I'm not just allowing my head to collapse down, always supported. My spine is nice and strong right now. So I'm opening and I'm feeling the stretch in the throat, down into the jawline. And again, as I move the head, it's going down into the shoulders, into the chest. And then give everything a good little shake out. Excellent. Whew, got some heat going in the body. That's a good sign. So then take a breath here. I'm going to create a little bit of friction. Probably not as fast as I did at the beginning, but a little bit. And then again, these beautiful questions that we ask with intention. As I bring the hands down, I come onto my solar plexus, I allow my body to relax and stretch back a little bit. And once again, I encourage you to ask the question. It's not with the intention of knowing an answer, it's just with the intention of tuning into who am I? Who am I? And it's just saying this, almost making it, if it feels comfortable for you, making it into a little bit of a mantra, meaning that you repeat it 3, 5, 10 times on that inner space, in that inner body, and just asking, who am I? And just see what comes forward. An open-ended question has the ability for insight, has the ability to create such clarity and such it's fascinating what may come up for you, and notice it if it's something that's critical. Notice if it's something that's forward moving. Notice if it's something, whatever is coming forward. When you bring that forward with a conscientious, open-ended space, you're literally kind of saying hello to a part of you, your intuitive or your ego side is coming to the forefront, and you can have a really, at least creating an opportunity for a conversation. And this might sound a little bit strange for some of you that like having a conversation. Who am I having a conversation with? You're having a conversation with yourself. And I hope this lands for people, but having a conversation with yourself, depending on what mood you're in, depending on where your emotions are at, when you have a conversation with yourself, it can be, very aggressive, very critical, very, well, blah, 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 why am I asking who am I? It's not with the intention of creating or sparking, although that does happen, any anger or any kind of like confused energy. It's meant to be very open ended, so you can just kind of lean back into that question and be like, okay, who am I? And if any kind of emotion or any kind of charge comes forward out of that, I go with what feels right for you, but I highly encourage you to also bring your heart space to that, because there is some beautiful golden nuggets in there if you have the opportunity to kind of lean in and see, okay, why is this charging me in this way? Or it could be the opposite, and all of a sudden what's coming forward is like a very calm, very like centered space, and this is all elements of who we are. So getting comfortable speaking to the many elements, the many pieces of who we are. um, it's a regular practice of mine, and I get a lot of inner guidance from that space, both when I'm in a critical state of mind and both when I am in a compassionate state of mind, which from a day-to-day basis, they are both there. They're always there, and they're there to create balance for me. They're there to keep me safe, and they're there to push me on and allow me to excel in life and not be scared. And it's good to have both. Okay, that's it for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.